Alright, so we were looking at the G minor shaped second minor 2, 4, 6 right there. And that is a G minor shape because remember, if you look at a G root shape, it's major third, minor third. So minor is the flip flop of that, and that's to minor third to major third. All right, so what we're interested in is finding out which of these shapes, and these are the cage link. So these are the linked cage. Okay, music theory is only as strong as its weakest link cage. So what we got here is let's just look at the easiest thing. You know, this is the first of the oh gosh, it must be almost 100 different inversions, because you've got the 7 chord shapes and you got 3 each, so that's 21 of them. All right, and then you have the maybe there's not that many of them, but you have the different inversions. You know, you have the different chord shapes and all that. It can get to be quite a lot of them, but let's do the simplest one, root 3, 5. Okay, now the colors here are different. This could be any key, but they lock into the same shapes. And what I was saying was the G minor shape 2 minor 2, 4, 6 is in the E cage. You see that? And why is that? Because when E is the root, the next shape up in the scale in a pentatonic scale, okay, now it's not caged, it's caged spelled backwards. D, E, G, A, C. So when we're going up in a modal scale, we would have this particular box is right here, is part of the E box here. We have a root shaped, here we have a root shaped G. So this is the root is in the G box here. So that's root 3, 5. It's definitely a G shaped root as labeled there. But when we're going up a whole step there, we're looking at the 2, 4, 6 Dorian root shape of the Dorian, G minor, D, F, A, right? Then we're doing a G minor shaped 2 minor, which would be in the key of C. That would be a D minor. That is in the E box because we go to the next pentatonic shape up. So the next pentatonic shape up from E is G. So that's why we go to the G minor shape there. So let's look and see what we have. We have a 2, 4, 6 there, right? But we're going to look at the root here. So we got root 3, 5. So that's easy. There's root 3, 5 right there. And notice it is in the G cage. All right. Now the bottom G goes to the E shape. So we have here G, 6, 7 root going to the E, 7 root 2. Down here we've got 6, 7 root going to the 7 root 2 in the E shape. Why can we make that association? Now this G means the whole cage, so it actually pertains to the bottom string. So the G shape pertains, that's why we can make that association, because the shape, this G, E shape is the bottom string shape. That means it is the shape of the build. So our root 3, 5 would be that would be our build. The C isn't there. At this point, the C isn't there. We're not looking at it. It's in no string, no play land. Okay, and then, do I have to put this, up here? again, and then warp the 2 over. You know that's where we're at, right? So we're on the G build here, and we're looking at the D minor and the root. So here's the root 3 5, and here's the D minor 2 4 6. They're right there. So what it would be a good idea if you knew where the numbers were in the shapes. Usually arpeggios are going to go to the left if you just want to play them to the left, but you can do cage bound arpeggios. So if you look at, you want to start an arpeggio, let's say you want to start 2 4 6. All right, if you want to stay in the cage, and you don't want to just go to the left unilaterally. I want to go 2 4 6 2 4 6. Let's say that 2 is a D, so we'll go. Okay, anytime you have one note per string, you're going to have a repeat of the, especially in root, you're going to have a repeat of the pattern. It's just that when you play it on the bottom, these these second and third notes swing over to meet you. They swing over to greet you when they're warped over. And that's the whole thing about the tuning warp that's positive. And that is that the tuning third is that, especially in the key of C, it brings 2 notes closer to you. The top 2 notes come closer to you in the pattern, so you can play them. They come into play from the fret nut. So right there, you want to decide if you're going to go to the left or the right with it. So if you want to start on the second scale degree, whatever key you're in, either you're going to go to the right or the left. If you're going to go to the left and do a regular arpeggio the way we just did it, then you choose the string pattern that has that note on the outer note of the string pattern. Alright, so I'm going to bring this into the picture here, which is the string note rule. Okay, so we have, and we're not going to do all this stuff, I'm just going to show you that let's say we got a C box here, root C, 5, root 3, 5, root 3. That's your C chord. C chord is root 3. You'd put your fingers here, root 3, root. These would be barred or on the fret nut, open strings. So the inner note is the 3 and the outer note is the 5. That's all I'm saying in a string shape. And you could do it, doesn't have to be the bottom string. So this string here, the 5 6, the inner note's the 5, the outer note's the 6. So that's what I'm talking about, inner note and outer note. And additionally, just so we don't try to like gloss over it or anything. So you're looking at a string shape here. The inner note is the 6. The outer notes are 7 root. They are shared by the E shape. They are the inner notes for the E shape. So the outer notes for one shape are the inner notes for the adjacent linked shape. That kind of thing. Okay, so let's say we're going to target our first note, which would be the 2. Let's say in in Dorian. Let's look at an easier note to play. So let's look at the root note. Okay, so here's the root note, and we want to do something in root, right? And we want to associate it to string patterns. So we know right off the bat that root note is either going to be the inner note in the E shape pattern or the outer note in the G shape pattern. It's up to you. What do you want to do? So say we want to play a root chord. So we want to play 5 root 3 up here. We just want to go to the chord. Then obviously you would play the E pattern there.
So